This is Scott starting the fire, starting the kiln.
Right there, it's getting to be about 900 to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And the block, the eyepiece below, if you want to go down to the one below, just keep it running. And go down all the way down, and you can see the flame starting to go up the chimney, comes down to the floor, under the bottom of the kiln, and then up the chimney. Can you peek in there, Billy?
Open it, yeah, and let's see.
Focus in on it.
Well, it depends on how much energy you've got. You've got cone 10 clay in there or cone 6 clay?
Cone 10.
Might it not
So it wants to be a brilliant
You know,
white
6
if you
can
can.
go to 10. I found that with almost all clay. 6
Yeah,
can go to 10.
okay.
It's a little more brittle.
Some of it can.
Yeah.
The stuff, I've got some stuff that said, oh, cone 4 to 6, and it's really more
Right,
4
well, I
than
was
6.
pretty adamant, and these guys know. I said 6 up.
Okay, good.
And we also used 05 glazes, because I've been firing 05 glazes to cone 10. Beautiful. You put them on really thin on vitrified work, especially the stuff that has the little crystals in it. They just streak down the side. It's amazing.
Now we're on video. Please.
When my sister was
Terry.
assaulted by a fireman, it wasn't a good thing.
No grub put out, you're on video.
Let's play it back on
Yeah.
WMBY.
Go over there and say something.
Somebody should be here with a movie camera.
Vote for...
So when you call your
No politics.
so when you call your church,
See you tomorrow.
That is reinforced. No.
Right. Wow, look at that now. It's all flames all around the
The
door.
heaviness that bothered me was the when I...
You can move this time it's video. Gotcha. So now that one's just awkward standing there. Forced. It's totally fine. You're bad at taking direction. You know? Did it come out?
Oh, I can't get it to stop now. Jesus Christ.
we're trying to keep the heat as far into the box as we can by putting the wood up to the bag wall, and right behind the bag wall is where the pottery is. But the flame is one part of the heat, but the charcoal that burns is the radiant heat. And what we want is the radiant heat as close to the pottery as possible, and all of these air ports pulled out so that all the ashes are out of the way. And sometimes if you get a nice banking of hard ash and charcoal right here, even though it's still burning, it heats the air before it goes in. So it's a good thing to leave a lot of that down there. When it gets to a point where you're stepping on it, you want to shovel it up and put it in those silver barrels.
Cool.
You don't want to burn your shoes. For some reason. Hey! Hey!
There we go.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, I was actually recording. Go ahead.
We're digging out the bank of coal that's way in the back so that it'll ignite and get more air in here. We try to lift up all these charcoal things. We might even want to get to a point where one person is scraping, the next person shovels it up, and then the next person throws the wood in. And we can leave a hook like this with the thrower and a hook like that with the scraper, somebody with a shovel, and then you just hold the same tool for a while.
I just found another shovel.
Fooling around.
1, 2, 3. Okay, go. Hello.
Woo! All right, so inside this hole right here are little pull rings. We can reach in, now that we're 3/4 of the way through the firing, we could take one of those little rings of clay out and get it into the sunlight. Even though it's red hot, we can douse it with water, and then we can see exactly what's happening to the surface of the clay in there, out here, without having to wait. But I think the best thing about this whole firing is the fact that no one could do this alone. No one. You have to have a bunch of people. And, you know, you think of potters being in their little studio all by themselves doing their secret things. But you have to share knowledge to get this up to temperature. The lady that built this kiln was here today. This is the second day. Usually this runs for 48 hours. So we're on the last 12 hours of our second day, and we're finding out things that we didn't know, and we're learning things and being reminded of things we should have known. But it's great. I just love it. Well, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Saturday night at 10 o'clock. Sunday night at 10 o'clock, Monday night at 10 o'clock,
Yeah, that was
Tuesday night at 10 o'clock. So tonight at 10 o'clock, it's going to be 3 days.
To
do it.
Oh, that was it. And I was trying really hard to pick the right.
You know, of course, I took my little.
And now I'm thinking of
mobile
something
phone
else.
photos
I want to make sure we keep
help
all
me
these
to
door
remember,
bricks
but
together.
all of them, and then I do the same thing. I just take them because you can't even see it by the time you see. Yeah, well,
Yeah, so you take, like,
Or their eyes are shut.
Yeah. So I always take a bunch, and that just gets me in the habit of
it's just.
Make a good mason.
You can't.
Just give me some mud.
Give some mud, look it up.
That's when people say to kids, okay, well, that's
I think it goes with clay. You know,
It
it's
was
the same.
great.
good
And
sign.
what I do when people
sign.
say to me,
Oh, that's just what it should be, bud.
Is it still hot?
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's still hot enough for me to put down.
Yeah. So how far down are you gonna go?
Well, we're going to be able to all peek in. I can't stop. Stop
yourself.
No patience whatsoever.
None.
All right, let the camera come in and take a peek.
that's as good as
want
it
it.
gets. I'm sorry, that's beautiful. That's not just brown.
Awesome.
Wow.
That's
what
exactly
you
what
want.
you want. You did it.
Awesome.
You did it.
You
You
did
did
it.
it. You did it.
I'm sitting there like this going, I'm going home.
Oh my
She says,
goodness.
let's keep going, let's keep going.
The turkeys
You had
came.
done. Okay,
What temper do you think?
21.5, 22, maybe?
Is it the highest ever?
Close.
Cone 6, the hottest.
Cone 6.
Yeah.
If we do this again, we think we got it now. We think we got it now.
It's so cool.
Here's the cones that melted here.
Okay.
And now I'm starting to rethink. No, I think there was an 06 here, because the space is still there. That was 1. This is 7, and this is cone 9. So the
7
soak
is-
gave us a little bit of 7, but that would be 21.5.
What do you do? Take the aggregate?
You almost hit
Well,
the
these will actually melt at a specific temperature, but it also has to do with how long it's been in the heat. So the longer it stays in the heat, the more that cone will melt. And what is this material? This is glass. Glass. Yeah. And it's formulated with clay just so it melts exactly at the right temperature.
Slow down. So allow them to pass.
And even if, they're 100 years old, they still work.
And is that a formula or do you use
Yeah,
it trial
not
and
too
error?
many people mess with me. No, but it usually happens to me at triangle, like I know down, so like there is nowhere for them to pass me. So I'm just like, oh, you want to ignition off,
Or a good indicator of how things are going. You can hook these out.
I don't know if you saw those
I
before.
did, yeah. So how do they release relate to that?
Well, when you look at the clay body, you say, oh, this is, about bisque temperature. This is getting up to being a mature piece of clay. Oh, look, the glaze is melted.
Get some sherry in there.
A pre-cone thing. Or you can make your own cone and see if it flops out of the glaze or something.
Yeah. Or you could just go as hot as you could possibly go.
Which is what you did.
Does it matter how long you let the fire go?
Yeah.
It does have an effect. It will flux things to a point where they will collapse. We had that one piece you saw that melted. Sure. That probably would have been all right if we just shut it off. Instead, we went for 5 or 6 more hours at that temperature, and the thing just finally just said, you can't take it
And
anymore.
when you say by shutting it off, you close the...
Just stop feeding it wood.
Stop feeding
Yeah.
wood. Sure.
And it's great because it's very anticlimactic. You're getting ready to turn it off. You've been doing this for 40 hours, and it's fire everywhere, and it's just done. Don't throw any more wood in. So we block off the passageways for the air and clean up all the ashes.
And the rain or the exterior temperature, what effect does that have?
It did rain one year. Did it ever rain when you were doing it?
2 days ago, or it rained yesterday morning.
Well, luckily, everything was done by then. It took 3 days to get the temperature. It takes 3 days to cool.
I see.
And there's still fire in that back burner.
I see.
There's still fire in that back burner. Which really gets me, because you feel like, well, let's light it again. Because you could load it up now. It's all dry. This would fire faster because there's no moisture in this thing anymore. And it's nice and warm inside.
So I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Let's assume it was 10 degrees. What effect would that have on the intensity of the heat?
I think that there is a connection between moisture in the air and the dry air, cold, heat. Depends on the pressure system. Like if it's a low pressure system coming in or high pressure, it'll make the venturi work faster. But it's negligible. I mean, you've got to get so exhausted that you just want to go home. And then you're done.
I hear you.
Cool.
But those are good questions. These are some interesting pieces here that they sent over. Just experimental pieces from kids at the high school.
Was that originally
This one.
Scott?
No, it was just that same shape. It's actually still got pencil marks on it that seem to come through, so maybe that's a ceramic pencil. You can buy pencils with clay in the lead and just draw with it and it stays. Look at that beautiful try. Put some pictures of that. This might be, this piece and this piece might be the two pièces de résistance. Because this being porcelain, you've got to go hotter. Maybe 100 degrees hotter, this would have flashed into glass. There'd be no roughness up here, and you'd get this everywhere.
So you put that up top when you fired it?
No, actually, this was right at the bottom.
It's the bottom.
Right in the bottom center, which is where everything comes in, heats, and then the heat goes down. So this was right where the heat came down.
Scott, is that your line?
That's my line.
Can we see it?
Yeah, and this is Dan's. Look at this piece. Just the blush of the ash on the shoulder. No glaze. This is just natural. And this was like light pink when it went in.
So how did he produce that band? Was it a different kind of clay, or did he glaze it differently?
Nope, he didn't put anything on it. This is strictly where the ashes fell during the fire.
Oh,
Just
so
from
he
the
didn't
ash.
know it was going to look like that.
He actually probably did, because he didn't put any glaze on it. Most of this, the push was no glaze.
I see.
If you want to glaze, do it lightly.
Yeah.
Or at least if it's going to be like a mug, glaze it on the inside.
Sure.
But leave the outside so that the ash could get to it. And, there is some soda, some old salts from... the thing is, I wonder who decided to throw soda and salt the first time ever into a kiln to make it glaze. And I always figured maybe one day they fired it with driftwood.
I think the Germans, took their pickle barrels and burned them up.
Maybe that, all the salt in there. Sure. There's another one that melted. I don't know whose this is. This is like maybe Matthew's too.
That was the one from the
I thought this was the one.
No, because
That's right. Okay.
on it.
Well, yeah, he'll know that was his. He's going to be disappointed and thrilled at the same time. Maybe you keep it as a cover. But that was a nice little jar about that high. And again, that's island clay. You just can't take that heat. I'm kind of glad that it melted away, because that shows we got some heat. We didn't get exactly as hot as we were way out in the middle of nowhere hoping for, because we're happy with all this. Look at that nice glaze on it even glazes the bottom of the piece, just from the soda from inside the kiln.
Why would this be so different?
This is ash again. There was
I
nothing
see.
on
Okay,
that.
that's that.
Yep.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that.
You know, it's like you want to smooth that off, but
Yeah, yeah,
we're
yeah,
after
yeah.
that. We don't mind those.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
This one is interesting. We put these little feet on everything to keep it from sticking to the shelf. So the little feet stuck. So we'll let her snap that off. But that's because there's a little bit of glaze on there, I think. Unfortunately, but I love the texture of the you know, just look at that, for instance.
Yeah.
The different textures around.
I agree.
She didn't have any glaze on that. That was just slip on the surface. And I might end up contradicting myself as far as exactly how things come out, because sometimes you can't really tell exactly what happens. There's so many different ways to apply color. And you can put it on while it's still on the wheel. You can splash it on. Tell me about the ash. I mean, where you see the ash sort of it's hot ash going down. But where does that come from? Well, when we're burning wood,
Yeah,
burning
it's
wood,
video.
the ash flies off. Oh, they are.
What temperature did it get up to? Well, one of the
Seven.
All
Cone
ash.
seven.
This is an
Looks
ash
like
finish right
cone
here.
7 was
And this is
just
ash. This is not
starting,
pleasant.
was really
This
there.
could have gotten a little
So
hotter.
cone 6.
Oh, okay.
All different places in the kiln, and all things
I
being
misheard him, I guess.
Heather?
Well, he was talking about the cone 7 cone, but that one didn't really bend
Heather,
enough
we
to
want you to peel this guy off.
qualify for being cone
I have
7.
a feeling it might break.
Okay.
So we wanted you to do it. Just tap, tap, tap with my little hammer.
So cool.
But see, that's the ash again too, and that gives a feeling of depth to the piece as well. It's very, very decorative as well. Very decorative.
See that one.
You know, you probably have seen old beer bottles that look glazed like this, because that's how they used to make the throwaway Dixie cups of the 1800s.
These are great. Are these yours, Scott?
The mugs, yep.
What did you? What's in here?
That is cone 05, no, cone 6. Cone 6 Chino, it might have been. Yeah, right out of the jar in there. Yeah, from here. Yeah. Cone 6 are those? Yeah, those.
Yeah, we don't
those
have
sixes.
we don't have an Alpha
There was something I put in here that had low fire on it. I forgot. I think
Yeah,
maybe
we're in the
these.
studio next to it.
And these had low fire clear, right? Over a stain?
This is a
Because that shows you can control.
this is an underlays with the O5 clear on top.
Okay.
Come nibble us, they'll be happy.
Yeah.
So is this everything?
Quick, hide his melted pot.
I was gonna say you have to
Just I'm looking
explain
for
that
it.
one.
At least this isn't the one that stuck to the shelf and broke. We sold it. Yeah, so tell me what we sold. Hello.
Go, so excited.
gorgeous.
Got some shine.
Gorgeous.
Got some shine.
Look at that lion.
Wow. This is really rough how it turned out.